Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Salem Township Board of Trustees meeting. Let's have the pledge at this time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome everybody. Just as a quick update, first of all, before we start, we'd like to welcome everybody. We are using the Zoom platform for members of the public who have joined us by video or by phone. Your microphones are muted, but will be open when appropriate. In order to maximize disruptions to the meeting, connectivity problems, only members of the board and staff have video. All chat and questions and answer boxes have been disabled. The meeting is being held via video conference in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. All members of the public body and members of the public participating electronically will be considered present at the meeting and may participate as if physically present at the meeting. All the members of the trustees are participants from Salem Township. If members of the body are participating from elsewhere, they need to say so, identify the county, municipality, and state. There will be opportunity for public to speak during public hearing or public comment, if any, during public comment periods. Instructions for public comment will be provided at that time. Okay.
I'm calling in from Nancy Pelosi's office.
Okay. All right, so we have the agenda before us. Before we do that, the agenda, we do have roll call. We will have roll call by whoever is present, if they could mention their name and actually where they are physically at. We'll start with Converse.
I'm here at the township.
Daniel?
I'm John Daniel. I'm here right here in Salem, at home.
Okay. Reggie DeLuca is absent tonight. He's called, he's excused. TJ McLaughlin?
Right here in Salem, at home.
TJ, you're muted. David, I think that you're connected twice, and that's what's causing the feedback. So if you could mute one of your lines, please.
I'm here in Salem Township.
Thank you, TJ.
Mm-hmm.
David Trent?
Here in Salem Township.
Del Wensley?
I am here and in my office at Salem Township.
Thank you, Del. And Gary Whitaker, I'm present here in Salem Township. Okay, approval of the agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions at this time? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed to the agenda? If not, it stands as presented. Okay, now we come down to the public comment. I don't know, Paul, do you want to read something about that, or am I supposed to read something about public comment?
Sure, I can explain.
Right.
So if you have joined by computer at this time and you would wish to make a comment, you can indicate so by clicking the raise your hand button found at the bottom of your screen if you've joined by computer, or at the top of your screen if you've joined by tablet. Your microphone will be enabled one at a time until all participants online have had the opportunity to speak once. When you are unmuted by the host, you will see a dialog box that says stay muted or unmute myself. Choose unmute myself if you wish to speak. After that, if anyone has joined by phone, you'll have the opportunity to speak, and you can indicate so by raising your hand by pressing *9, and then you'll have to press *6 to unmute. So at this time, if there are participants who would like to speak, please raise your hand. And Mr. Chairman, I don't see anyone raising their hand.
Okay. Thank you. Moving down to the consent agenda, we'll have Mr. Delwin.
Right. I move that Salem Township approve the following consent agenda items. We have the minutes of December 8th, 2020, regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. And we have the disbursements for December, the general fund of $75,257.59. We had a payroll of $60,819.21. Paycor of $216.15. The sewer fund, we had $10,174.68. Escrow fund, $18,349.87. The MEDC fund, $77,706.20. The Chubb Road paving project, $904,441.43. And then 5 Mile Road paving project, $176.10. So now we come to the invoices for the month of January out of the general fund. $113,327.37. Sewer fund, $7,644.72. Escrow fund, $7,468.50. And lastly, the MEDC invoices of $45,126.36. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, TJ.
TJ McLaughlin seconds it. Any other discussion on the consent agenda from anybody? Questions? If not, do we need to do a roll call vote?
Yeah.
Probably, if you could call the roll, Mr. Winsley.
Sure. Okay. Converse,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
DeLuca is absent. McLaughlin,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
Wensley, yes, and Whitaker.
Yes. Okay, so that's passed. So moving on to business items. I think this is the first. There isn't any. For reports, they're submitted. Chief, are you on the line?
The fire chief is on the line. I will allow him to speak right now.
Thank you.
Chief Blackwell, are you on the line?
Yeah, can you hear me now? Can you hear
Yep,
me?
we can hear you.
Okay,
You have the floor.
thank you, so Mr. Supervisor. So just kind of a summary of 2020, calls were down a bit, and we think part of that call volume was down because of the COVID issue. So typically we're around 600, we're 650, we're down to 500, almost on the money for calls for 2020. In 2021, the department has been moving forward with doing our COVID shots. About 50% of the firefighters have gotten their COVID shots. I have actually completed both rounds. I've got my first shot and my second shot. And I can tell you it's basically kind of like getting your flu shot. Your arm hurts a little bit for a day, and then it's the next day you didn't know you got the shot. So I would encourage everybody on that has the opportunity to get their COVID vaccination, please do. We need to kind of kick this in the butt to get it to go away. We did get our grants in, and which is more PPE. So I think that's about all I have. Is there any questions for me? Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Chief.
You're welcome.
Okay, board discussion. Anybody want to discuss anything? Any questions, updates?
Hmm.
The weather in Florida is nice.
Yeah, I think, Jim Rockwell, I think, you've been sharing with me with your new, role or capacity of a, drone autopilot. I think you, maybe ought to update the board as to what proceedings and what's been happening, and where we think we're going with this whole, scenario. And just to bring us up to speed as to what you've been doing.
I'd be happy to. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so we've been working from the hazmat team, the county hazmat team, to bring a resource within the county for the ability to use drones. We had just recently a couple instances where we just formed the drone team, meaning that we've got our FAA license to fly within Washtenaw County. We have waivers to fly special missions like at nighttime and also near airports within Washtenaw County. So we had an incident in the our modular home park where there was potentially a person that was shot, and we were looking for that person, and being able to use the drone at nighttime, we were able to search along the railroad tracks and see if we could find that individual that might have been hurt. Just a few days after that one, Northfield Township had a teenager basically run away from home in her bare no shoes and her PJs, and it was 28 degrees out at nighttime. And so again, we were asked to help Northfield PD and the fire department to search for this this teenager, and thankfully he was found safe the next day. But we had deployed, or Northfield had deployed tracking dogs, survival flight, another set of tracking dogs, and Michigan State Police, I believe, their thermal imaging helicopter with of course our drone. So we're hoping to build a drone team across the county with a number of pilots in all across the county, and we're building the capability with thermal imaging and lift capacity. So we're in the beginning stages, and we're hoping to get the sheriff's office to also join in this. And then last night we had an incident that, again, the sheriff's office had asked for us to help with kind of like a barricaded gunman. And we brought the drone down there, did a kind of a high level investigation, thermal imaging, didn't find the individual. And then they asked us to go in with the drone. Obviously we could do that from a far distance and look in the windows and see if we could see the person. And unfortunately it turned out to be deceased, but we didn't put any police officers at risk by using drone technology. So there's a video that we put out on the fire side, actually the state of Michigan did, on drone capability, and I'll share it with the board. And I think that's kind of the future. It's just another tool in the toolbox. I'm one of the few people in the county that actually has the FAA license. You have to take a test and pass the test and stuff like that. So I'm encouraged. I hope that soon that we continue to build this asset within the county, and more departments and the sheriff's office jump on board. That's kind of a quick synopsis. Is there any questions?
Chief, who actually owns the drone that you're using?
So there is a county asset drone that's owned by the hazmat team and insured by the hazmat team. I was also flying my privately owned drone under the county, again with the especially on the child. I went back at daylight, which has a better camera, and searched the railroad tracks to see if we could find this person. Obviously, having a teenage daughter, kind of hits a little close to home, and with the temperatures that cold. I did kind of meet up with the next of kin, if you will, the father and the people that he assembled, and we were continuing to search because in the area it was pretty wooded out in Northfield. So thankfully, I think it's kind of teenagers being teenagers, and thankfully she found a safe place to find, and that outcome turned out better than we could have hoped, I guess.
Does it have night vision?
So the camera that we have for the county does have night vision. It's the kind of the lower end. It's kind of looking through a dime. It's the more you pay for the drone, the more capability you have. So the next level up would be a larger camera, and then the top of the line at a $50,000 range is like using a 35mm night vision camera where you can literally see 500 feet away and people crawling. So we do have thermal capability. The county drone is about a $5,000 investment. It's kind of the first entry in for public responders. The next level would be a $10,000 drone, and then the next level, we're trying to crawl, walk, run, and get more departments and honestly the sheriff's office more involved, because this is great for finding lost kids. This is great for we can telemetric the information back to a command post, so the person flying it, all the command post people can look in a nice warm big television screen and see the same thing that the person's flying it real time. So if you got hostage situations, we can fly it. We can fly it where you can't hear it. If you've got lost kids, you can, or children, or people, or hunters, you can get up and see above the tree lines. And I was kind of amazed. I actually took some training over at Three Cedars with their corn maze over there, and I could never make it through. But when you fly the drone, it's pretty easy to get through it. So that's and we need more practice, and we're really in the beginning stages. So we're trying to slowly build this and get support for it, and we're probably going to be working with the Washington County Commissioners soon as well.
Can I borrow it the next time I go through the Three Cedars maze?
I sell some tickets.
As long as you pay.
But it's
Okay, thanks.
yeah. So I'll send you guys the video that really explains a lot of the up and coming things. We're part of the statewide effort to kind of build, especially after the dam breakage in Midland, and the ability to go and do damage assessment without having to be able to get to areas that were basically ravaged by the water.
I think that's an awesome tool. That's great to have at your disposal.
We're looking.
I think it's a good thing, and I guess why I really wanted Jim to mention this is the fact is that, basically his role is being expanded beyond fire chief, and I think we need, as a board, need to be supportive, and also probably need to have a coordinated effort with the other agencies that he is working with, so that we are all on the same page. And talking from a treasurer standpoint, that the costs are associated. I don't feel that he should be doing this on his own nickel. I think he should be doing this for a fee, but on the same token, I think we should have a dialogue with these other agencies, the sheriff and whoever else, to come up with a plan and to get this thing off the ground. I think that's exactly where we need to be going.
Okay,
To that point,
thanks.
we're looking at cost recovery. Obviously, if someone commits suicide, we really can't go to the family and cost recovery. But if Pittsfield had a cylinder farm that caught fire and the cylinders were rocketing and we couldn't get near it, we borrowed Western Wayne's drone team, because ours hadn't been formed at the time, and we could fly over that and see where the fire was and what was in jeopardy and not put anybody at risk. So again, it's kind of the future, another tool in the toolbox, but always emerging, kind of like computer technology.
Yep. Okay, any other questions? Thank you, Chief. All right, any other discussion, any updates? If not, we're down to public comment. You have anybody on there?
No members of the public have raised their hand.
Okay, I don't have any other updates or anything, so,
I got a question though,
Yes.
Mr. Supervisor. In the last month and a half or so, our good friend and resident down here, Mr. Kalo, has had his tire washer, wheel washers going, but there's still an excessive amount of dirt that's coming up on that road, excessive amount. He has to get his sweeper out there to sweep it, and it's still dirty, it's still grimy, it's greasy. And it's not necessarily doing the job. And I think that we need to put a little bit more pressure on him to do a better job or whatever he's doing.
okay.
Not to give you a assignment, but.
Well, again, it's not, I don't think there's a lot that we can control on that. It's basically the soil erosion people, and along with, they've been on him, and also, the county, which owns the roads.
Okay, good.
So, there's been some issues with it. I've seen it sometimes where it's worked good. The other issue you see is when they put all that concrete in there, and then when they end up, having the water coming off the truck and it's 30s, below 30, then it's freezing the road. I mean, I don't, you're caught, and so, I mean, that's been an issue too, of,
Maybe that's what
so, I don't know how you can drag water out there and start freezing, along with you're gonna need dirt to stop. So, I don't know, but anyway, so it's been a challenge, but at the same time, if you go by here in the summer, the trucks, most of them trucks are headed out of town going east
That's right.
and going south, and we don't see the problems that we had here at the intersection. of the signal shop.
That's true. I mean.
So again,
It's
but it would be
definitely-
nice. I know
It's definitely better, but.
you really do get ticked when you go get your car washed and come down that way and it's all wet and everything, so you're almost anyway.
Yeah, that was my point.
So
Harry, I had one thing.
yeah,
The last 2 weeks at the landfill, like time between like 10 a.m. and 12 noon, when the biggest rush of people are at the landfill,
the drop off.
the drop-off section, it looks like the new owners have put cement barriers on the turnaround. So everyone has to, when they come up the ramp to dump their trash, they have to go back down the same way. And when there's 20 cars, trucks and trailers, it was just a gridlock, and people were cussing and beeping horns. It was just a terrible mess. Is there any way that you can maybe find out why they put those big cement barriers so we can't keep?
I don't understand.
going?
Hold on. Daryl, you said it's,
They had 5 pillars, about maybe 3 feet.
Did they
4
fix
foot
it?
high, and you couldn't move by it unless you had a lift. But they have right blocking the roadway that goes down to the recycling bin,
Right.
and you couldn't go that way. And you had to back out and go back down the ramp you came in and circle around, go over to the, but I was there the other day and they're gone now.
Yeah.
They moved the pillars.
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times.
Okay.
So have they
All
fixed
right.
it or no?
Yes,
So-
it's open.
They said they fixed it now. The pillars are gone.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, for like 2 or 3 weeks, that was the way it was. It was just a real mess. But all right, well, that's great.
On that same token, I've had a couple of meetings with the plant manager down there, Dave Seegert. Very, very pleasant guy, and he wants to attend the meetings once this COVID thing gets over with. I think we have a fantastic relationship built up with him. My favorite subject with Mr. Plato's business that he's taking care of for us, that he is well on board with whatever we're doing, and they ponied up and they've made changes big time, and he wants here to be served, and I for one wanted to report that I see nothing but good coming out of it.
Yeah, they've been very cooperative in helping. They've volunteered to, they've hired our lawn people, limited services, given her work to mow the preserve, farm preserve, the paths, to keep them nice when the weather gets better, and to maintain the park at no cost to the township. And so they're gonna be paying her, which I thought was a kind gesture on their part to help us with that. All right, anything else? If not, then we're going to adjourn at 7:27.
Record.
All right, very good.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Night, everybody.
Good
Night.
night. Good night.
Thanks, Paul.
Welcome, good night.
Daryl, have a good one.